Hello, history enthusiasts, and welcome to DO Research Hub. And today, we're embarking on an exciting journey through time as we uncover the captivating history of the Cholas, an ancient Indian dynasty that left an indelible mark on our nation's legacy. Interregnum period of Cholas. There is little evidence available regarding the 3-century transition period from the end of the Sangam age, about 300, to the reign of the Pandyas and Pallavas over the Tamil nation. The Kalabras were an unknown dynasty that invaded Tamil land, overthrew the previous kings, and ruled during the time. Little is known about the Cholas' destiny in the 3 centuries that followed until the accession of Vijayalaya in the second part of the 9th century. Muthurayars/Muthurajas controlled the kingdom for 3 centuries, according to inscriptions discovered in and around Tanjavur. Between 848 and 851 CE, Vijayalaya Chola seized Tanjavur from Ilongo Muthurayar and ended their dynasty. Imperial Cholas. Vijayalaya was the founder of the Imperial Chola Dynasty, which marked the beginning of one of India's most magnificent empires. In 850, Vijayalaya, likely a feudatory of the Pallava dynasty, took advantage of a war between the Pandya and Pallava dynasties and seized Tanjavur from Mathurayar, establishing the imperial line of the medieval Chola dynasty. Tanjavur became the imperial Chola dynasty's capital. During the medieval period, the Chola dynasty was at the pinnacle of its influence and strength. Chola rulers increased their realm and influence via their vision and leadership. Aditya I, the second Chola king, ended the Pallava dynasty by defeating the Pandyan dynasty of Madurai in 885, occupied large parts of Kannada country, and had marital ties with the western Ganga dynasty. Rajaraja Chola I and Rajendra Chola I were the Chola dynasty's greatest kings, expanding it beyond the conventional boundaries of a Tamil state. The Chola Empire spanned from the island of Sri Lanka in the south to the Godavari-Krishna River basin in the north, up to the Konkan coast and Batkal, the entire Malabar coast, the Chia region, Lakshadweep, and the Maldives. Rajendra's domain covered the Ganges-Hooghly-Damodar basin, as well as Sri Lanka and the Maldives. The kingdoms along India's east coast up to the Ganges recognized Chola suzerainty. In 1016, 1033, and 1077, 3 diplomatic missions were dispatched to China. Later Cholas. Following Rajaraja's conquest of Vengi, marriage and political connections amongst the eastern Chalukyas began. Kulothunga Chola I, his son Vikrama Chola, and other successors like as Rajaraja Chola II, Rajadharaja Chola II, and Kulothunga Chola III, who conquered Kalinga, Ilam, and Kadaha, headed the later Chola dynasty. However, the power of the later Cholas, beginning with Rajaraja Chola II and ending with Rajendra Chola III, was not as strong as that of the monarchs between 850 and 1215. Under Rajaraja Chola II, 1146 to 1175, the Chola Empire was still largely territorially intact, as evidenced by the construction and completion of the third grand Chola architectural marvel, the chariot-shaped Airavatesvara temple at Dharasuram on the outskirts of modern Kumbakonam. Chola administration and territorial integrity were stable and prosperous until the rule of Kulothunga Chola III in 1215, but the decline of Chola power began following his defeat by Maravarman Sundara Pandyan II in 1215–16. Chola administration. The king was in charge, and Chola inscriptions refer to him as Perumal Adigao, the Great One, and Kokanmai Kondan, King of Kings. The king is described in the Chola inscriptions as a great warrior, conqueror, great patron of art, destroyer of evils, generous and a protector with a pleasing personality. The king went on royal tours to improve administration efficiency. The administration structure was larger than that of the Cheras, Pandyas, and Pallavas. However, after the death of Kulotunga I, it began to decline, and the power of local chieftains grew. The Rashtriam/Rajya, empire, was divided into 8 mandals, provinces, each with its own governor/viceroy, generally a prince. The provinces were subdivided further into valanatus or khatams, and each valanatus was subdivided further into nadus, districts, under Nattar. Nadus was made up of several autonomous villages. The guilds and shrinis were also involved in administration. Nagaram was the assembly of mercantile groups/merchants and was specific to different trades and specialized groups. The administrative structure grew in size, particularly during the reign of Rajaraja Chola I. The government at the time had a large land revenue department with several tiers that was primarily concerned with accounting. Revenue was assessed and collected by corporate bodies such as the Nadu, Sava, Nagaram, and sometimes by local chieftains who passed the revenue to the center. During the reign of Rajaraja Chola I, the state launched a massive land survey and assessment project, and the empire was reorganized into valanatus. The executive officer was the first to communicate the king's order to the local authority. Following that, the transactions records were drawn up and attested to by a number of witnesses who were either local magnates or government officials. Chola, village administration. There were 2 types of Chola village assemblies. The General Assembly of non-Brahmadiya village residents, or Velanvegai villages. The assembly was thought to have fewer than 10 members. Sava or Mahasabha, 2 inscriptions from the Parantaka period discovered at Uttaramur provide information on the formation and operation of Savas. The Sava was an assembly of Brahmins/adult male members in Agraharas, which were rent-free Brahmadiya villages with a high degree of autonomy. The Brahmana Sava and the Chola court were inextricably linked. For example, the Sava's resolution was made in the presence of an official delegated by the king. The members of the committee were chosen by lot or by rotation. Membership was governed by certain criteria such as land ownership, Vedic knowledge, good conduct, and so on. The members of the committee were known as Varya Paramakal, and they usually met in a temple or under a tree. The Chola village assembly was the sole owner of both the village lands and the newly acquired lands. Land revenue was the Chola Empire's main source of income, accounting for 1/6 of total output. The village assembly collected the revenue, which was paid in cash, kind, or both. The Chola government conducted the land survey. The inscriptions also mention land transfers through sale or gift. There are also several references to villages led by women. In a 902 CE inscription, a woman named Bataya is mentioned as the head of the village Barangier.